All right, we are live. Welcome indeed. Thank you for tuning in for today's live episode of the Rice Crypto Show. Doing a collaboration with my brother from another mother, Mr. Crypto Blood. I'm streaming on my Rumble YouTube channel, my X account. Blood is streaming over on his X account and his YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. Links are down below in the video description. And today we are joined by Jordan from Waters Above. Make sure you guys take an opportunity to smash that like button. And before we begin, a few quick messages from the channel and our sponsors for both Rice Crypto and CBTV I Love Crypto. Don't forget to visit ricetvx.com, where you can watch both of my YouTube channels, Rice Crypto and Rice Against the Grain, directly. Find all of my social media links, sign up for my mailing list, and become a member of Rice Uncensored, where you can join me on the private side for less than $0.25 a day. You will get early access to both Rice Crypto and Rice Against the Grain, ad-free, unedited videos, exclusive content, members-only forum with direct access to me, live streams, and more to come, only at ricetvx.com. Make sure you take an opportunity wherever you are watching to smash that like button.
This episode is brought to you by FairDesk, a crypto derivatives trading platform founded by 6 former Binance execs and 3 former Morgan Stanley architects. FairDesk is a company focused on building a platform that enables traders to profit from both rising and falling markets. Sign up today and CB will credit you up to $600 in trading funds. For more information, visit fairdesk.com, link in the description below.
Holla. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we're going to go and get this thing going. What's up, my brother from another mother, Crypto Blood? How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, baby. We're here. You're torturing me here, Rice. You're torturing me.
What, because it's 10 a.m.?
Yes.
Well, we can thank our beautiful guest, Jordan, for that. But it's all good. It's all good. I've been getting woken up at like 8:30 in the morning anyways from this construction crew that's outside of my window.
You still squabbling with them? Still fighting with them?
No, I've given up on that. It's just wasted energy at this point. So I do appreciate everybody taking the time to tune in. We're going to have links down below for all 3 of our channels. So make sure you subscribe as well as Water Above if you're not already. So without further ado, this is the first time that Blood and Jordan from Waters Above are going to have a conversation together. So, Jordan, welcome to the show. Feel free to unmute yourself. We appreciate you joining us, my friend.
Yeah, I'm grateful to have you introduce me to Crypto Blood. I appreciate you for taking some time, having me on, and it's all love.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, man, because, I mean, you definitely bring an interesting perspective, and Blood's been checking out some of the interviews that you've done with me, and he was really impressed by the last conversation that we had, which was, I think, taking us, it could have been the last conversation or 2 conversations ago when we were going into the annular solar eclipse, which I believe was in October, and you kind of like hit it right on the money as far as what you were saying, as far as your predictions based off of using your unique skill of combining technical analysis with astrology, numerology, and gematria. So since this is your first time on Blood's channel, do you mind kind of doing like a quick introduction as to who Jordan is?
Yeah,
we
need an autograph. We need an autograph from this guy, Jordan. I mean, I've been talking about you since October, bro. I need to know where you're getting your magic from, how you're doing it, where's the secret sauce. We need it. But no, and all jokes aside, definitely we're excited to have you. We've been talking about you, as I stated, for a few months now because of your call back in October on Rice's channel. And so just kind of give us a little rundown on, how you got into this. We want to know the difference between, at least I do, gematria, numerology, and astrology, and just kind of give us a quick synopsis before we get into things today, man.
Before you get into that, Jordan, anything for clicks that this guy is a witch. Are you a witch or a warlock?
Yeah, I'm not cool enough to be either of those things. I'm pretty boring.
Oh man,
You're a really interesting guy, man, and I appreciate you, my friend. So
that really means a lot.
We got your website pulled up, watersabove.com, and then we'll have your YouTube and your X account linked down below as well.
I appreciate that. I mean, so just to give a quick rundown of what I'm doing, Rice did a great quick introduction with this, just labeling what I'm about, which is pretty much a professional technical analyst, professional trader, but the elements that I bring to the table that are a little bit more unique are the esoteric elements. So taking things like Gematria, which is effectively a alphanumerical cipher system of taking language and applying each letter in that particular language to some sort of number code. And with English, for instance, you'd have A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and that's the easiest way to explain it. And then you'd have other elements such as numerology, and you could do numerology in many different forms. I try to keep things pretty simple. And then I've combined that with basic astrology. So not getting too deep into the astro charts or getting it not as much as what you would maybe see with some other financial astrologers, but kind of my own take on things and what I believe has the most utility regarding astrology and particularly cryptocurrency. So that's my kind of unique element that I've added from that has been talking about the lunar cycles, the effect that the full moon or the new moon plays on crypto, and then the effect that lunar or solar eclipses play on crypto. And really just dialing in that and having more awareness of why Bitcoin and this crypto market is doing what it does during bull runs, and then why it pivots into bear markets, and then why it acts the way that it does during bear markets. And I've come up with a system that's pretty simple, actually, if you just have an awareness of the solar or lunar eclipses during a particular phase, either that being a solar phase or a lunar phase. And right now, we are in a solar cycle. We're in a solar phase, which effectively means all lunar eclipses are weak and all solar eclipses are strong. And that's why if you go back to the first solar eclipse that we had of 2023, which was in April of 2023, you'd see that we rose bullish from the prior lunar eclipse, which was in November 2022, effectively what was the Bitcoin bottom. We rose all the way from that directly into April 20th solar eclipse. And then we chopped sideways all the way until the next solar eclipse, which was in October, the last time that I connected with Rice. And then right from that solar eclipse, we pivoted bullish and we went up again. And we could see that these eclipses play pivot points. And then the same thing goes for the start of a bear market. And we have the last bull run ending effectively in May of 2021. And that was in the May solar eclipse. And then what we noticed is every lunar eclipse after that, we started to see big rituals on the world stage, specifically with crypto. For instance, we had May of 2023. There was a solar eclipse where we watched Terra Luna on a lunar eclipse drop effectively to zero.
No pun intended there.
Exactly. So that was a moment where a lot more people started taking what I was sharing more seriously because of how synchronistic that was. Right. And then the following lunar eclipse that we had, which was in November 2022, was the fall of FTX and the imprisonment of SBF and all of the thing that went down with FTT token. So that gives people a little bit of a rundown on what I'm doing. But my channel, I try to break it up 50-50 between the esoteric stuff like Gematria, numerology, and astrology, and then 50% of TA. So actually doing real technical analysis, talking about the markets, using some indicators that I believe will be helpful for people that are either newer or even slightly more advanced. And I try to not get too crazy with the indicators and going too deep into that kind of stuff, because I want to be helpful to those that are open-minded, but also people that are trying to gain a skill out of this. And if you don't care at all about the esoteric, if you think it's all woo-woo and you think it's all make-believe, then fine. You have the other 50% of my channel is dedicated to what's going on in the actual charts.
Well, I have my mom watch the other 50%. she thinks this stuff is demonic, and you know how moms and stuff can be. But so here's my question, bro. You split it 50-50, right? How accurate, if we just take your numerology, astrology stuff, like how accurate is that by itself? And if it's very accurate, what's the need for the TA part?
That's a great question. You know, I got to start this off by being very honest and transparent that I did not think Bitcoin would break an all-time high so soon.
Okay.
So there's definitely times where I get, where I'm learning.
Right.
I'm always learning. I love this process of learning. I'm not really.
So I like this guy. I like this guy, Rice.
No, he's good people, man.
I was definitely inaccurate with the idea of where Bitcoin would go this fast, this soon. I thought it would take at least for us to get to the next solar eclipse, which would be in October. Between August and October is when I was anticipating all-time highs. And now, I mean, technically our all-time highs were only for a couple of days, and then we had that correction, and now we're sort of chopping. But you asked a great question, like why even have the TA? And I got to admit the reason why is because I had awareness out of the gate that most people are going to see the Gematria numerology stuff and they're going to go, no, that's insane. Like I've been like that my whole life though. Every time I had my truth and I shared it, 99% of people would just be like, you're out of your mind. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'll keep moving my way, I'm not worried about what you think. Like I've always been staying on my lane and moving from my truth, operating from my purpose. If people want to think that, I'm just making shit up, then that's cool. Like I'm not trying to convince anyone. I have no desire to change people's minds. So I came to this with so many years of study in esoterica that by the time when I got to crypto, I knew what I was walking into. And we got to be honest and upfront. Most crypto people, like an overwhelming majority, are just degens trying to turn pennies into nickels. Like they don't give a fuck about financial freedom, or they don't care about becoming sovereign or truly wealthy. They don't care about generational wealth. They just want to get in some meme coin, whip around a Lambo, and then give 40% of their money back to the IRS.
I thought you were street smart, bro.
So I'm not really concerned about, people's doubt, but I knew that I needed to come into this game.
So what would you say though? What would you say as far as your hit rate on the esoteric side versus your hit? I mean, I do TA. I've been trading for 15, 16 years.
Real quick, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just want to shout out Donut.
Oh, shout out Donut. Oh, I thought you said you wanted to go get a donut.
No, I want to shout out my Donut, man.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Donut is the reason why me and Waters even connected to begin with. So,
nice.
Much love, Donut.
Nice. Yes, thank you, Donut.
Shout out to the Illuminati Dolphins.
So yeah, I'm just, can you give me a ballpark? Like I'm just out of curiosity, right? Because I've been trading forever. I know that you can be wrong 40% or 60%, 70, even 70% of the time and still have a profitable trading strategy. So I'm just wondering, like, have you charted or tracked your accuracy with numerology, gematria, and astrology in the crypto side and also outside of crypto in the traditional markets? Does it work the same?
Yeah, you could apply this to anything. You just got to know a couple of things. You got to know the keywords. You also have to know the birthdays or the founding date of a couple things. So like if you were to know when the S&P 500 launched or when the NASDAQ launched or when Tesla launched
are
public.
You serious?
Yeah, if you want to look at when Coinbase IPO'd, like you could take all this data. You could take the keywords. You could take Ben Armstrong. You could look into Ben Armstrong's birthday. You could line that up. And then you could start to like piece this all together.
Yeah,
you could start to piece this all together.
It gets really crazy.
Wow,
it's
so
really deep.
So that's interesting, bro, because it's almost like it's almost like when we're born, right? We're born under a certain moon phase, sun phase, or whatever, right? And it kind of is it kind of that same concept?
Absolutely. Like
Oh
everything.
my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I'll get to that in a moment. But as for the hit rate, like I've never kept track of such a thing because my only goal here is to be profitable, and I've always been profitable in this market. So I'm not saying that to flex or brag. It's just that's always been the way that it is. Like even when Bitcoin recently broke above 50K, I took some profits. I call it de-risking, just to give people like a
Right.
basic rundown.
Exactly.
De-risking means you are taking out the hard-earned money that you put into this gambling casino.
Yep.
So if you started with a grand and it goes to 10 grand, you should probably take that 1 grand out, and then the rest just let it ride, right?
House money.
House money. So I de-risked my Bitcoin position partially at the 47K mark and then again at the 54K mark. And then I've been involved in Bitcoin as an active investor since it was below 10K. I have most of my Bitcoin accumulated in my long-term holds around $8,000. So some people saw that and they were like, well, you're taking profits too early. And I'm like, well, first of all, my trading plan was profitable. Second of
Right.
all, I've been in this game for a different time horizon than probably you have. Third of all, I know what I'm doing with my finances. I know everything I'm doing with my finances. I have a wealth plan, not just a trading plan. So if I
Exactly.
had to, if what's the point of having a hit rate if you have a wealth plan? You have a huge time horizon. I think you need to be more caught up in that sort of stuff if you're playing with leverage, if you're doing lots of active trading, if you're really reliant on trading also, which I had a stage of my life where I was heavily reliant on trading. And I would say in most of those moments, I would use Gematria or numerology to determine where would the conservative levels to de-risk or to take profits on, for instance, an active trade. But a majority of the time, it's just the game of stomach and emotions when you're talking about trading. And that's really where I come from. And with my knowledge and my wisdom and what I'm bringing to the table, I know um, Rice knows this. Like most of the time, I don't even want to talk about trading with people. I want to talk about the emotion. I want to talk about the mindset. I want to talk about investment wisdom because I've seen this happen so many times where people get a 10x and then they roll all that money over into some other shiny object, and then it ends up being a rug pull, or they end up being in the red. So they're just chasing the high, just like a heroin addict chases the needle. And I want to talk about that stuff more because that's so much more important.
Now, I 100% agree with you, but at the same time, Jordan, I am like really curious about like what your thoughts are with this eclipse that's going to be happening April 8th and how it's going to be affecting the cryptocurrency markets, Bitcoin, and what we're looking at for potentially the remainder of the year. Because the way that you were talking, that I understand things with you is we are now in a solar cycle, a solar phase.
Correct.
And when we're in solar phases, the way that I'm understanding it is that eclipses, solar eclipses, total, annular have more an effect during a solar cycle, and lunar in the lunar text, not lunar cycles, but during a solar cycle, when we have full moons and new moons, they don't have as much of an effect.
Correct.
But then we have the inverse. So when we're in a lunar cycle, the new and full moons have more effect, and the solar and the total and annular solar eclipses have less effect.
Let me actually just share my screen. This might be more helpful, and then I could also clear a little bit of confusion about what you said. So first things first, a new moon or a full moon, it would be always those eclipse timeframes because you need to have a new moon or a full moon in order to have an eclipse. So for instance, when you would have this recent March 25th lunar eclipse, it was a full moon. And when you have your solar eclipses, it's because of a new moon, right? And there's a great website that you all can use. It's called calendar-12.com, and it gives you moon phases. And I save the whole calendar for the year. And that way I could just look at whenever we have our new and full moons. It gives you a little bit more data, like third and first quarter moons, which I also teach. But that
Calendar what?
Calendar/12.com.
Okay.
Let me pull up my screen so I could show you guys a little bit about what's going on in a very, very basic chart.
So do you trade professionally? Are you a prop trader? You trade for a firm? Is that something you can go into or no?
No, I've only traded personally. I've only
Okay.
traded with my own account. To give you a little bit of background on that, I was running an e-commerce business that was very, very successful leading into C19. I'll try
Yeah.
to be coded with my words here,
Oh,
You're
but
that's
good, man.
fine.
You're good.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
great.
Fuck 'em,
We're in the
fuck 'em,
we're in the
fuck 'em,
border.
fuck 'em.
We're in the borderlands.
Yeah, you can say it now. It's all over. So now you can say COVID, C19, V19, whatever.
Yeah, so I was doing e-commerce pretty successfully. It gave
Okay.
me it allowed my me to get some grasp of where the trends were, what was going on at the time, and I was also simultaneously studying the Federal Reserve and Fed policy and what they were planning on doing, with the monetary supply, fiscal. Anyway, so we all know the story behind what happened because we've already all lived through it,
Right.
and because I was doing drop shipping that was heavily reliant on China.
Gotcha.
I lost the whole business. I actually had 3 simultaneous stores running, and then they cracked down on advertising through Facebook ads so
Yeah.
that all of our accounts were getting banned. And I was working with an agency, and we were scaling, and it was great. I learned so much, but then I lost all of my cash flow in
Yeah.
overnight. I had the
Wow.
money, but I lost all my cash flow because all the ad accounts were disabled, and then at the same time, it was taking like a month and a half to ship products because of what they were doing with the they were like sanitizing the docks and all sorts of crazy shit that made no sense. But anyway, so I needed to make a move. And
Yeah.
at the time, I was like, okay, everything's shut down. I'm like here. I can't leave this desk or this house. And all I did for like 15 to 16 hours every day was study the charts. I just learned TA. And I taught myself it whilst actively trading with leverage. And I became very, very good at it very quick. And that's just kind of the person that I am. Whenever I get a hobby, I pour like all my heart and soul into it. And through that, I started to notice patterns where I was like, wait, all this shit that I know about astrology and numerology is coming through in these charts. And it all happened by mistake. So it was like boom, boom, boom. A bunch of dominoes fell all at once. But yeah, I've only personally traded.
Okay, so your implementation or execution of your let me back up. How long have you been into the numerology astrology stuff?
I've been into numerology and astrology, particularly numerology, for maybe like I want to say 10 years plus,
Okay.
like definitely over a decade. But I
Okay.
got into Gematria quite recently, actually. I only got into it maybe a little bit before C19, and
Okay.
it was because a close friend of mine shared with me two channels at the same time. Shared this guy Logan over at his name is Decode Your Reality if you want to check out his YouTube channel, and the other
Okay.
one was Zach Hubbard from Gematria Effect News. I was sent both their work at the same exact time, and that's why I utilize the Chaldean cipher when you guys check out my videos, and that's also why I utilize the 4 base ciphers. But now, what I did out of the gate was I did not use their strategies of decoding. I just found this decoding calculator, this Gematria calculator from
Okay.
watching these videos, and then I started doing it in my own system, which it's a little bit deep. It requires a lot more background. I'm not going to get into it too much here, but
Sure.
what I realized was that everything is tied back to some sort of planet, like mythology, if you will. So before we had Jupiter, we had the mythology of Jupiter. And when you take the mythology of Jupiter or Zeus, you'll start to see that everything is just plagiarized off of a prior story. And it keeps
Yes.
going back and back and back. And
That's
then
why I left Christianity.
sure, that could be a great reason to question your faith. Yeah, once you start to realize that everything is just borrowing the deities
Yes.
and repackaging them in a
I
new
don't, and I don't want to, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole on that side. Maybe we can. That may be what our conversation will be about, Jordan, when we have our discussion. But I definitely want to know, like, where is the source? Where is the original source of these stories? Because there's a pattern now. I'm not saying like Christianity, Islam. They all kind of have a running theme. And I'm just wondering, like, where the hell does it all lead to? Where's the source, primary source for
That's
these stories?
definitely
But that's something we can,
another conversation for
yeah,
sure. But
yeah, for
anyways,
sure.
so I found out about the Gematria stuff very, very recently. But
Okay.
immediately, the way that I got going with it was utilizing mythology, which to me was what debunked all religion. mythology is where it's at. And I'm not just talking about Greek and Roman mythology. I'm saying this stuff it goes back to
The
Egypt,
Sumerian.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Egypt and
Okay.
Babylon, and for sure, when you start looking into that stuff, that's where the plagiarism really starts to kick off after that. Anyways,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
Like
noticed
your
that
Astrahasis and your all these different Sumerian texts that were retranslated in different languages, and that kind of looks like our Book of Genesis and the Bible.
Correct. Correct.
for sure, for sure.
Correct. Okay, that's
So,
interesting. So
so that gives a little
you've like
background on that.
since COVID, you've really like just from happenstance brought all these things together to a trading strategy. That's pretty neat, man.
Yeah, and he started a channel, and he's got double the amount of. He's got more subscribers than us combined.
Hey,
Well,
as it should
No.
be.
no, I
So
think
shout
that
out.
I think that what's most important to realize is that we all have so much opportunity here to spread the truth about what's going on in these markets in our own way,
Yeah.
like in our own way of interpreting it. Like, I think there's so much noise right now that if you're somebody who's real and you're honorable and you're spreading your truth in your way, like
Yes.
that's all that matters. So I think that a lot of the time we see these channels with 500,000, 600, a million, but like how many of those people who are following that work are there for the right reasons?
Well, and how many of those are bought and paid for too?
Sure, that's
Yeah,
another
that too.
that's another theory.
I
But
have another. Okay. After you're done, I have another question.
yeah, do you could ask your question real quick and then I could break down this chart a little bit for you guys
Okay,
so I can
sweet.
give your audience a step by step on how this goes.
So this it kind of goes to past the coffee's comment here. He's saying that apex predators use this method to crack, and we're just cracking. You're just basically cracking the code, right? So my question is, what happens when too many people, or do you think enough people will ever start utilizing this, and then that will become a watered down strategy? Like, how does that work? We know how markets work, right? You can't have too many people using it, then you can't extract the alpha from the markets anymore. So
Yeah.
kind of talk to that.
Well, I
point.
mean, there's a quote from JP Morgan, and like whether it's legitimate or it's not, it's like it's pretty revealing, and it's an old quote, you know. Billionaires use astrology. That's it. Like
Yeah.
millionaires don't.
Yeah. I saw
So-
that quote the other day.
Yeah, but
So-
I mean, I've heard so many misconceptions about that quote, saying that it's not actually a correct quote. But it does seem like if you were like what you were saying with Coinbase, the listing of the coin stock, and then
Sure.
you look, even like me and you have talked before, like because you're like one of these people who don't really pay a lot of attention to the news. So when I fill in
Yeah.
some of the news things, it kind of it puts a lot of more things in perspective. And I've noticed that a lot
Sure.
of the Federal Reserve FOMC meetings are kind of timed astrologically as well.
100%.
Mm.
It's 100%. Everything in this world that they're doing at the banking system is timed according to astrology.
Right.
Because
Wow.
they know. Well, I mean, real quick, ask anyone who's a corrections officer, somebody who works in the ER, or anyone who's a police officer, a firefighter, and you're going to get a pattern of the most chaos going on a full moon.
moons. Yep.
That's not my opinion. You know, I like to bring that up to new people to my work, though, to remind them, like, why do we have these dips around full moons? Now, remember, we just went through a lunar eclipse during a solar cycle. That's not you wouldn't want to anticipate huge, devastating moves during those timeframes. But if we were in a lunar cycle, which will start in March of 2025, then lunar eclipses are going to be much more noticeable. But anyways, I'll get to that when I review the chart.
So
The
I
point
have to
being
ask-
is that you could ask people who are police officers, and they know during a full moon, shit
Hospitals,
goes-
like you said, yeah. I mean, it's and we see it with animal behavior and with like how it interacts with water and tides and things like that as well.
Yeah, I'll have to phone my billionaire friend and ask him about that numerology.
You have to
stuff
introduce
if he
me to your
uses it.
billionaire friend.
What
Yeah.
you know what I think the real translation was, though? It was that billionaires hire astrologers. It's not that they are astrologers.
I got you.
It's
They
that
use
they
the astrologers. Yeah,
they use them. Like, I don't think the Rothschilds are going out to Stonehenge on a full moon with their crippled old bodies, like trying to fucking do some ritual. Like,
well, definitely
they're-
not Jacob.
They're hiring people to go do this for them. And the way witchcraft and magic works is the energy just gets sent to whatever direction it needs to go. Like 9/11 is a great example. Anyone who breaks down the esoteric, deeper meaning of 9/11, you have Tower 1, then you have the next tower, that's 1 1, and then you had Tower 7, that's 1 1 7. Well, September is not the ninth month in the system, because septem in Latin means 7. The day that that happened on would be 117, written internationally. And then after Tower 7 magically collapsed, the next thing that happened was the Pentagon, which is the pentagram, which is the way they set up the floor beneath their magic ritual. It was a ritual. Yes, there's casualties. I'm from New York. I was living in New York at the time. It's fucking disgusting what they did. But it is what it is. Like, once you open up your eyes and you see it for what's going on, you now know, like, don't take it personally. It's just who's running the show. They're not basic people. They are wizards. They're doing witchcraft.
So
And we're a part of the recipe, if you will. We're ingredients in the recipe.
Man, it's so crazy you brought up 9/11. I was talking about 9/11 at dinner last night. Yesterday was my birthday, so I'm trying to explain to my family that I don't believe in karma. I think it's an illusion that there's karma. I think it's all cause and effect. But we brought up 9/11. I'm like, is that karma or is that a cause and effect? Is that from us doing horrible things to decent countries for so many years, and they're just attacking us, or what was it? But that's interesting that you brought up 9/11, man.
Well, I
Yes.
asked people when I first started my channel as an experiment, I asked everyone, what was your first red pill moment? And just comment below. And what happened was like 80 to 90% of the
was
submissions
9/11.
were 9/11.
9/11.
But I was hearing people that were 60, 70 years old that were saying 9/11. That was the
Wow.
event that got them to wake up. So what I'm revealing here
Interesting.
is that 9/11 woke you up more. Like C-19 made you more conscious. I know you hate it. I know you think Fauci's a whatever and Bill Gates is
Right.
trying to, but it allowed you to mine more consciousness from the ether. It made you better. It made you a more honorable man. We need to wake up to this shit.
It was a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's done to see how you react or you respond, right? Like, if the flood's
Yeah.
coming, are you going to sit there and complain at the rain, or are you going to start building a fucking boat? What are you going to do?
Right.
So
Man,
everything that
this is-
happens that's out of your control, it's still an opportunity for you to do something about it, like for you to respond about it. Anyways, I know that this is a little bit deep and out of the context of charts, but
Sure.
it's what I'd rather talk about because I think it's a little bit more.
So do we live in a simulation then? Because all this shit sounds like simulation. Like we're not in a base layer reality. This is someone playing.
I think reality is a simulation. It's what's beyond the reality that's real. It's what we think of as reality is the simulation. It's organic simulation.
That's what I'm saying.
But
like I don't think we're in base reality.
Spiritual beings that are infinite energy. We're just contained in this meat suit temporarily.
You know, have you guys ever checked out that Black Mirror episode called USS Callister?
No.
Which one was that?
It's the one where it's this dude who's like a CTO of a tech company, and he's the more nerdy one who's like programming and coding this game. And the game is called Eternity, I believe. And you know, in Black Mirror, they always put this like little button on their temples, and then their eyes roll in the back of their head, and then they go into some sort of like sim.
Yeah.
Well, he's a guy who's designing a sim game, and what happens is you find out that there's players that are in this office of this tech company, and he's uploaded their consciousness into a sub game that only he has access to and that only he can work on the code of, and it's private, and he's able to get them into it through just getting some of their DNA. And then once he locks them in there, they have a carbon, like a double, where their real body is like living in this false reality. And then their true consciousness that has awareness is locked in this game in his prison. And I'm like,
I had to check that one out. I don't think I've seen it.
Definitely check it out. And then I just checked out that at the same time I was checking out the movie Get Out. I have to watch things in like 3 or 4 day intervals because I'm so busy and I just don't have the time to watch this through. But like, it was really interesting. I had like 30 minutes of Get Out to watch, and that's when it starts getting juicy, right? That movie, and then
Yeah.
it was like, oh shit, I remember this USS Callister show, bro. I think they're revealing to you what it is, like what we're going through. We are experiencing like a bad copy, but this is the copy that we live in, where we get to have a central nervous system. So I'm a firm believer that like we are jacked into the simulation through the central nervous system, and this is the opportunity to have feeling. This is where we laugh, cry, have an orgasm, get beat up. This is where we get crucified. This is where we get worshipped, but in the body. So you have to feel all of this. But if I took away your body right now and I just made you pure spirit and you were just floating out there timelessly, but you had memory of what it was like to be in a body, don't you think you would want to go back in that body ASAP?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah, you would.
I think
Because
so.
you like feeling. You like
Right.
pain. You actually love the tough lessons. You like getting knocked down and falling. You think you don't right now, but it's because you don't have the wit. Of course, we're speaking, I'm not talking about you directly, but it's that you don't really know what you desire until you've seen hell, until you've been through the trenches, until you've had something really, really, really traumatic happening. And then you've experienced what that taught you, which is to be grateful for this experience. It's like, this is actually a beautiful world. There's beautiful people here. I know if you focus all your attention onto the doom and gloom and what's going on in some particular geographic location, you can start to become the feeling state of what's going on there, even though you're sitting in a comfy couch right now talking to me on the fucking internet. You
Right.
can literally astrally project out of your own feelings to just be caught up in everyone else's. And that's what the elite do to us. They're using us for our emotion. They don't need to kill us. They just need us to give infinite prana.
Negative, well, not just prana, but negative prana, I believe.
So are the elitists in control of the simulation? So are they have they inserted themselves into the simulation and they're coming from base reality, or how do you look at the elitists, or do they just crack the code and understand how to play the game?
USS Callister episode is exactly how it's going.
Okay.
That main character, he jumps in and out of the sim. That's it. Like we can't though. Like we're here and we have this thing called birth and we have this thing called death. But like during that whole timeline, it feels very much to me. This is intuitive, by the way, because no one knows. Just like nobody knows if heaven is real or hell is real.
Right.
I think heaven and hell are just states of consciousness. But anyways,
I do too.
so when it comes to what we're experiencing here, it does very much feel to me like it's simulated, but it's not simulated as a prison planet. A lot of people want to go under that assumption that this is like a horrible imprisonment. I don't believe that. I think this is where we're here to learn the greatest lessons of all time. And the Matrix movie teaches you this too. Like when Neo gets jacked in to the simulation.
So real quick, this USS Callister from Black Mirror is season 4, episode 1 for people that are curious.
Yeah, check it
Okay.
out. So,
I'm gonna have to check it
but
out.
yeah, the Matrix movie I think does a very good job at this too. Like the process of becoming enlightened to the fact that this whole thing called reality is not what we think it is. There's another movie that came out I think before the Matrix that I forgot the name of it. It's like something dark, dark something, but it's
Dark
really
City?
Yeah, that Dark City is dope. Check out
It's
Dark
an
City.
older
Check that
movie,
one out.
yes. That's older.
I think it came out like 1 year technically
It's
before
Val
the
Kilmer
Matrix.
or someone famous is in that. Can't remember.
I feel like they do these movies to it's not like I hear people say they have to tell us. I feel like it's more so a whistleblower. These are like whistleblowers for me.
That or
Like
it's
dog whistles, like to let people know.
It's like playing with your prey too. You ever seen a cat that's playing with a mouse that's dying?
No.
And it will like take the mouse and like bat at it and use it.
Oh
as a
yeah,
toy.
yeah. My cat used to do that.
But it's still alive.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I kind of feel like that in a sense too.
Yeah, like I think we just need to realize that whoever is the leadership of, I call them the stewards of our realm. Some people call them elite. I call them apex predators sometimes. Like whoever these elite are to you, just they think of us the way a lion thinks about a hyena. Like we're their food. And that's all. It's okay. In the jungle, they're not going to sit there and bitch and moan about that truth. Like
We're the
they
peasants, the ant people.
well, organize your hyenas accordingly. Stop complaining about the fact that the lion wants to eat you. It's like, what are we going to do about complaint when we're in the jungle? Like, this is kind of a jungle, right? Like, you
Yes.
get to decide what you want to do about this. I know some people think that like everything is predetermined, and if that is the case, then whatever. But I once heard Kanye West, he said something about like changing the cards you were dealt and based on the stars. And he said like, basically, like, I don't care about the cards that I was dealt. Like, I know what I need to do. Like, because everyone doubts you in this matrix. The whole simulation is almost set up to send agents your way. You guys have all dealt with it, where you have a great idea or you have a vision or you have something that intuitive that comes up and you're passionate about it. And then somebody shows up to be like, nah, that's not a good idea. Go to college. Go do this. Go do that.
Yeah.
But then you're like,
right.
you have to ask yourself, like, wait up, is this person here to support my expansion? Or are they here to make me be mediocre like they are? And then you notice when you start expanding in this realm, when you start becoming successful in whatever metrics you think success is, you start to see the hate seep in. And then again, you just deal with it in a new form. So it's just like the agents in the Matrix movie. It's no different. And if you notice the way that Neo's relationship was with the Oracle is like your higher self. She was always like, Neo, you know the fucking choice because you already made it. You know the answers. Like, who cares what I know is coming up? Like, you already feel what is coming up. You know what you have to do. And that's the first player character in the whole movie that really allows him to kind of feel into all of that. You know what I mean? Most of the time they're all just like worshiping Neo. Like, he's the one, you know, he's the
Right.
But you get zero worship vibe from Oracle. She's almost
right.
She's almost like the higher self in this regard, like what the Egyptians would call like Ka, like this life force energy that just keeps you like moving and not in doubt and not in fear. And I don't even think that the elite want us to feel fear. I know Rice brought this up. It's not that I disagree. It's that I think they just want us to keep being confused and not have clarity, because fear is a very important technology. It motivates you. Fear is fucking motivating. I remember when I lost that business that I last had, I started to get fearful, and then it made me start.
To some people, Jordan,
it can just
because you can have fear. You hear the fear, the flight or fight type thing. Some people fight. Some people run away and they don't fight. So I don't know. It can be a double edge. I agree with Rice on that one.
Absolutely, but it's all about how you transmute that energy. It's like saying like saying water is good for you. It's like, okay, but you could drink too much of it and drown yourself and die.
Yep.
Yeah.
What type of water? Is it water that's purified, or is it water that has sediment in it?
Is it water from Flint?
Yeah, it's drinking water.
Round of applause. Is it water from Flint? You don't want that one. Shout out to Flint.
So that's the point. It's like when we say something like fear is bad or fear is what the elite want us to have, it's like, no. It's like everything has different, a spectrum of color, a spectrum of frequency. Like love even has that spectrum. You notice that the person you love the most is the person that pisses you off the most. It's the person that frustrates you the most. So I think this like externalized worship culture is kind of really what they want to maintenance. They want you to hate Andrew Tate, and they want you to love Brad Pitt, and they want you to hate Biden, and then they want you to love Trump. It's that they want to keep you in duality consciousness. It's not even that they want you to only have the hate. It's they actually like when you worship something, and that's the worship of false idols. You shouldn't worship shit besides yourself. I know that sounds crazy. Some people might think that's egoic, but like at the end of the day, agents are designed to come into your reality and make you question what you value.
Man, the chat is going crazy. Shout out to the chat room, guys. Make sure you go follow Waters Above right now. Okay, hit that like button, smack it. Do all those things. Share this video. He's dropping some jewels right now, and we definitely want to get this word out. I'm going to send you, Jordan, an interview that Kanye just did maybe about 3 weeks ago with Big Boy. Big Boy is a West Coast DJ, legendary DJ, been in the space for a while. I don't know if you saw that video, that interview he did, but you know, I for many years I I thought that Kanye was, and maybe he was going through like a psychosis or mental breakdown or whatever. But in this interview, man, he sounded a lot more coherent. He sounded like he was actually getting away from some of the traditional things that he learned from a spiritual perspective. And it sounds like he's really starting to wake up, man. I was like, wow. So I think you might enjoy that interview, man.
Yeah,
It
I've
was
heard
pretty dope.
snippets of it, and
Okay.
the one snippet that I heard that I really resonated with was when he was talking about this one track that he made called "Back to Me," and how he played it for his daughter. And it's a
Yes.
song. It's a
Yes.
song that has like the stupidest lyrics of all time, but what he said was so perfect. He said that he played it for his daughter, and then he
Yep.
asked her if she like what did she think about it, or if he should remove the part of the song. And then he was
She
talking
said
about how
no.
like sometimes my mom speaks through her, and I was like,
Yep.
whoa, like
Yep. Yep.
he's more of a father than I think a lot of people give him
Yep.
credit for. And then a lot of people see the shit that he's up to, like all the antics, and then they immediately assume that that's like him being a bad role model. But like I think it's just an interesting take on the whole thing that we would have been unaware of if we just listened to the song. We would have been. It's very cringy, like it's very cringy part of the song, and it's like the best beat on the whole fucking album he made. Like it's the most
Okay.
lit song on the album.
I didn't
So
even hear it, but I was just
it's
like,
it,
man, he's starting to like kind of get away from the Jesus archetype
yeah.
thing
Well,
as
because
well. I'm like,
why do people use what's the purpose of the technology of Jesus? I don't want to offend anyone,
no,
but
we're not trying to
it's
offend anyone. It's
yeah,
hey,
the
we're all
technology of
at our own
Jesus.
levels, and we'll
The
grow hopefully.
technology of Jesus is for you to avoid the fact that you are the Buddha. You are the Christ. You are the Son. It's to avoid that knowing.
Well, in the Bible, even Jesus,
We having church here, y'all.
I mean,
We
I
having
just
church
think
here.
Jesus is quoted as saying that we will do greater things than he, that we are gods in and of ourselves, that we have the power within us, that the kingdom
Yeah.
is within us.
Literally, straight up in the Bible, ye are gods.
Lowercase
Yeah.
g, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey,
And what is
like I said,
gods?
I'm not saying that, I think that many of the things that the Jesus, archetype talks about are great. We can follow those for sure. So we're not shitting on anyone's religion
No,
or anything like that
absolutely.
at all. So please don't take it that way, guys. We're
No,
just
because I mean,
trying to
most
open
people would
that
know
third eye.
I follow
You're
the
correct.
teachings of
Yeah,
Christ
exactly.
and
So
and for me to be very transparent with people,
the best I can.
when I was growing up, I asked my mom, like, why aren't we going to church? Why aren't we doing that stuff? And she told me that she was an atheist. She didn't make me an atheist, but when she told me that, I said, why? And then she didn't give me a satisfactory response.
you
And
want to know
that's
something crazy? I think it's harder to be an atheist than it is to believe in something. But hey, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way I reacted to her intuitively was like, that response doesn't sit well with me. Like
Right.
that's a shitty reason.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
didn't just full-fledged go into some like, oh, I hate God or I'm anti. No, none of that. Like for me, it's all about expansion of consciousness.
That's
I
right.
always tell people, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And the Bible is full of some gems. There
Yes.
is wisdom in that 99.99% of the human species can't even comprehend. They're not wise enough to know. It's
Right.
like giving. So the thing is
But
you're like
just don't stop
revealing
there,
pearls to
guys. Is
swine.
what I say is just don't stop at the Bible. You don't stop at one book when you're in college or in high school, right? Explore all of it so you have a well-rounded view of reality, or what we call reality, in my opinion.
And
Just look at it all.
learn how to actually read, like know the meanings behind words and not just the definitions. And that's why my new decoding mastermind course was created. I created it literally for the people that
Bring that up, Rice.
want to know what the Bible actually is saying. Like it's pro religion in every single perspective, but it's about the religion of you reconnecting to the source back within yourself, because all of those lit lines that are in the Bible are always bringing back to you. Remember, the Bible was made by the mind of man. You can study all of these holy texts, And one of my favorite quotes of all time, I forgot who said it. Super like a lady that was like at least in her 70s. She said when a baby's born, and she was a Christian, by the way. She was like a Baptist, like goes to singing in church.
Yeah.
She said this. She said that when a baby's born, it doesn't come out of its mother's womb with a book strapped to its ass.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
was like,
very
I
true.
started laughing. It's very funny initially, but the thing that we're going to here is it's a thing that you start to include in your life to have a set of guidelines and an awareness of how to navigate the simulation. And I very much think it's a book that reveals we're in a simulation also. The same thing with the Quran, the same thing with the Torah, the same thing with Kabbalah, anything of that nature. So yeah, I actually created that course for people to be able to know the meaning of these Bible verses, not just the definitions or not just the interpretation that was given to you by a pastor or somebody who's a theologian.
Okay, so let's get back to the charts, because man, we can go down this path for hours. I got even more questions, but I want to keep it focused on what the title of the video is. All right, so people don't get pissed. So tell us about the chart that you had up, and what what you want to break down there for us. What's coming up with Bitcoin?
Of course. So here you're going to see in the red lines, this will be the start of solar cycles. And what that means is every 2.5 years or so, we have years that start with solar eclipses. And then we have a sequence of 4 eclipses. And then the following year, we'll have the year starting with a lunar eclipse, which would be the start of a lunar cycle. And the basic definition of what's going on here is a solar cycle is our bull run and a lunar cycle is our bear market. So I'll zoom into this cycle right here. We have prior all-time high from December 2017. 1 year later, all the cycle lows. Then we have this solar cycle right here on a solar eclipse in July. We rallied from the bottom into that first solar eclipse, and then we maintained our trend throughout. I'm going to jump back to this, but let's just go to today's cycle.
Okay.
Imagine you have either all-time high of the double top, whatever you believe is the true high, and then you have this correction about 1 year later, and then you have your first solar eclipse there, and from the bottom to the first solar eclipse, you see bullish recovery, even a break of structure. So we know that this is the start of a bull run.
Yes.
So we'll go back to this cycle. So now, this was one, I want to talk about this cycle in particular because it was a ridiculous cycle to navigate, given we had this black swan event, which created all the things that we've already lived through. So we don't need to talk about it, but it was a V-shaped recovery. And then we have the Bitcoin halving, which was situated around a solar eclipse. And then once we got to this moment where we passed through that solar eclipse, we went bullish into this next solar eclipse. I want to take it step by step with you because we see this trend of when we move from the third solar eclipse in the solar cycle to the fourth solar eclipse is when things start to get really, really bullish. So we have over here, we have the third solar eclipse to the fourth solar eclipse. We broke into price discovery. And then here we have from the third solar eclipse to the fourth solar eclipse. We were already hyperextended in this cycle, but you can see
still went
Exactly.
up again.
And there's also another thing that we have cycle to cycle, which is that after the fourth solar eclipse in our solar cycle, which is before moving into a lunar cycle, we have an all-time high. So you see this white line followed by shortly after an all-time high. Then you have this cycle, white line, shortly after all-time high. Then you have in this cycle, white line, shortly after all-time high. Now, our fourth solar eclipse isn't until October. So this is why I said very early on in this, to be very transparent, I did not think that Bitcoin was going to be able to get all the way up to 70 so fast, because we usually see cycles are getting a little bit more reduction in ROI. So diminishing returns, diminishing gains, right? That's an assumption we all have.
Yes.
That's why we did what we did last cycle. We didn't do nearly as
numbers.
Sure. As market cap increases, something becomes more commercial. All of those things add up to less ROI. Believe it or not.
Jordan, I have a quick question. So the fourth cycle, the white lines that we're seeing, and we're getting a rally each time. Is there actual number, like a count on that? Is it down to the precise count after the white line? Do we have like 7 weeks or 10 weeks, or does it work that way as well? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like after that white line, do we see it only takes 10 weeks or whatever X amount of weeks to get to all-time high?
Great question. So it depends on many factors, but the one thing that I've noticed is it's typically before we move into a lunar cycle. And I wish I don't have the chart anymore because I made it like a PDF file and it showed you the
Okay.
start of all the lunar cycles. That would probably be helpful.
Okay.
But anyways, the point here is that there is not some specific science until after the solar eclipse when
Okay.
we will top out, but it's just that we have. We've
Gotcha.
never topped out before the fourth solar eclipse. We've
Gotcha.
always extended past it. So I'm just telling everyone this because a lot of people have their own opinions. They think like Bitcoin is going to continue on its bull run maybe for the next couple months and then it's over when Fed policy changes, or people think Fed's going to pivot in Q4 or maybe Q1 of 2025. So just to lay all of that confusion kind of to rest, it's just that we have our true cycle all-time high after this fourth solar eclipse, which gives me optimism that it's likely we top out into the end of 2024 or early 2025.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
lines
ask you,
up.
where
That
is
lines
that?
up with me.
I was going to ask
Not
you, where
even
is that white line with the fourth solar cycle put us in time frame based off what you have there?
So if I was to take the last two, which I think are a little bit better than the first cycle, because the first cycle was way too much speculation and pretty much the only way to get Bitcoin back then was doing some weird shit on like the black market. There was really no exchanges that took fiat easily. There was a lot of loopholes you had to go through. But by this
Oh yeah,
cycle,
I was back there.
yeah,
That's back when you had those drip sites where you can go get Satoshis and watch ads and
sure.
stuff.
And go to CVS. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so over here we have about 100 days. So let's just call it a little bit over 3 months. And then over
Okay.
here from this fourth solar eclipse to where we topped out is also around 3 months to 100 days.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
I took about 90 days to 100 days, that puts you into the first couple weeks of January. Now, one
See.
other thing to mention that I think will be helpful for all of your viewers is that we see Bitcoin top out all-time highs on new moons. So what we've seen every single time,
Gotcha.
I could zoom in. I don't know if it'll load, but you see these blue dots. These blue dots are new moons. These white dots are full moons. So when I zoom out over here, you can see that our all-time high was right into that new moon. The prior cycle high was literally on the new moon. And then the 2017 December all-time high was on the new moon of December. It's every time. So the point that I'm making is that you would want to look for the December 2024 new moon, January 2025 new moon. But I do remember that we have a double new moon in December. So
A
you know how
double
like
moon.
yeah, you know how like we call them blue moons when we have two full moons in a month. Well,
Yeah.
in December 1st and December 30th of this year, we have new moons, two in a fucking month. I haven't gotten around to like a deep dive of what that means, but that's important. That has to be important.
What is the date of that fourth solar eclipse? And is that at
It's
the end
October 2nd.
of this year?
Yes,
Let me
and
write that
what's
down.
what's
Is that
really
a
powerful.
annular? Is that another annular one like we had back in October?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's like the one that we had back in mid-October, correct?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not a total. Well, I mean, it's like you're splitting hairs here, but effectively, yeah, just another solar eclipse in the year. And what's really important about that solar eclipse is that it's Rosh Hashanah. It's the Hebrew New Year, and we have
Okay.
a war right now between Israel and whomever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's a lot going on.
Yeah,
a lot more than
whoever
just
it's
what they're.
Israel versus
Yeah, I mean, it's very
Itself.
much turning into that. Yeah, it's very much turning into that environment where I've been telling people, I'm like, you got to keep in mind the war narrative at this time. There's like 3 simultaneous narratives that are going to impact how these markets move over the next, 12 months from today, literally
Right.
till March of 2025. But
Okay.
yeah, I think I answered a lot of this
Yes.
stuff in regards to, but let's talk about this really quickly, the where we're at now thing. I think by now a lot of people are starting to deny the importance of a Bitcoin halving. I don't know what your audience is like or where you guys stand with this, but since Bitcoin broke these all-time highs effectively ahead of schedule, it's making a lot of people go, well, the halving doesn't matter anymore. I don't know. Again, I don't know where your audience is like on
No,
this.
I mean, I think
Well,
supply,
I'll tell you.
so
Yeah.
just simple supply, just the way that the dynamic works with the fact that the supply is diminishing and these institutions are buying up for the spot ETF, it puts that supply crunch and it really shows you what like how important the supply is. So I don't think
Yeah.
that it's taking effect with the mainstream because we were talking about this briefly yesterday on Bloodstream. I
Mhm.
think that this is something that they're trying to keep quiet. But then
Mhm.
once it's past the point of being quiet, because right now you can still get Bitcoin, but there's going to be a point where it's going to start being more and more difficult to get your Bitcoin, which is going to be people aren't really even going to want to be selling their Bitcoin at that point. What was it? What was the video or that one article that we were talking about? Was it like global liquidity?
Yeah, so there's going to be a liquidity shock with Bitcoin in October of this year, is what they're saying, which lines up very closely to what you're talking. It's just crazy, bro. So yeah, they're saying that by September, October ish area of 2024 this year, we will have a supply side shock with Bitcoin. I personally think that this having means even more and has more of an impact on Bitcoin than ever
More
because
so.
yes, because we didn't
Because the supply is being sucked up and these
by the
institutions,
ETF guys. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then if we think about
Exactly.
how many millionaires there are in the world and like just one all the millionaires owning one Bitcoin, like there's not enough. So once the money starts realizing that the supply is diminishing, that's when I think that we're going to see like this craziness in price. And that puts us, like you said, October 2nd with this fourth solar eclipse,
Yeah.
where we are within the cycle. And I think that the a lot of the stuff from the halving will catch up. And then from this point forward, halvings will be the most important narrative aside from development on Bitcoin. Because it's just going to keep diminishing the supply because we're going from 6.25 to 3.125, and then we're going to in 4 more years 1 and some change. So
So what do you
that's a big
think,
difference.
Waters Above?
What do I think about what exactly?
The halving, the
Yeah, well,
importance of it.
so the halving's time, the timing of it, the fact that
timing of
it was going to be it is going to be in late April, third week
Mm-hmm.
of April, that actually aligns with the time that we typically see corrections in the stock market. And maybe I could get to that in a little bit if we have some more time. I could show you the cyclical nature of this particular Chinese year that we're in, utilizing Chinese astrology. And we're in the year of the dragon. And I've taken time to go through every year of the dragon going back to the Great Depression. So that shows a clear indication that April into May, sometimes early June, are the noticeable pullbacks that tend to rally beyond that. Like we bounce. July, August are pretty good, and we could be on new all-time highs by September. But because I saw that data with the way that Bitcoin behaves on the 12-year cycle, Chinese astrology with the year of the dragon, and a correction into late April, and the fact that the halving is in late April, the halving is also around a full moon, which is typically a time frame that we get corrections. All of that adds up to like we should range for a little bit of time. Like we should be pretty sideways, and then that data is also shared if you look at presidential election years in the traditional markets. Almost every presidential election year, there's a correction in May, and then a little bit of sideways in June, and then recovery pretty bullish in July and August. So whether you want to look at this from the perspective of something more esoteric, like the year of the dragon, or you want to look at it from something more just basic data that's everywhere, with the presidential election years, the two things that are very odd, though, is that everyone is giving all their energy to the Fed, what the Fed does, simultaneously with what BlackRock or these ETFs are doing, or what these institutions are doing with the Bitcoin ETF. So those two things are playing so heavy, and it's making me think, are they like doing this to distract us before a bigger perhaps correction, like some sort of washout event? Because it doesn't really make any sense to me to have this sort of cyclical data and then at the same time we see the speculation as purely off of two metrics. It's what the Fed does. That's why after that recent FOMC meeting, everyone started just going all in. And then we saw what just happened with BlackRock, with these ETFs, and we could see the data with the inflows post ETF approval. We went straight from like 50-ish to 70 pretty quickly. I mean, if that's all we're going to do is keep riding the wave of those two simultaneous narratives, then I think we need to be very cautious in this environment, because if the Fed decides to do something that's opposite of what's been keeping this all so bullish, or if there was something to happen with BlackRock or something to happen with these institutions, then where's the positive conversation around crypto anymore? Like, I just don't see.
I'm a huge believer in TradFi. Not, if TradFi rolls over, right? If Wall Street equities roll over, man, it's done data in my opinion, for Bitcoin. It's a highly risky asset.
This is slightly off topic, but what are all of these billionaires who are CEOs of companies doing?
Selling their
stocks. What are they doing with that?
Yeah, they're selling. They're cashing out, and then they're also getting fucking bunkers in the middle of goddamn nowhere.
So is it all just cashing out and getting bunkers, or I mean, is there no speculation that these guys are hedging with Bitcoin in any capacity?
Hey, I said when Rick Ross built the bunker, it was time for us to go. That was your cue. When a rapper builds a bunker, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go.
Yeah. Especially a rapper that's like an ex-corrections officer.
Yeah, but that guy was a punk, man. He was being threatened by gangs and had literally.
I know. I'm just saying, bro.
The actual
what does he really know?
Being
it's a funny
his
joke,
bodyguards.
No, I mean, you guys got to give Rick some credit. He's probably a handler of a lot of these people that you think are free and have their own, like I'm not trying to create another side conspiracy, but like, I think he's the daddy to a lot of people that are well-known names.
Is he Diddy's daddy?
No, Diddler's is his daddy. Round of applause.
Yeah. I know that's getting crazy off topic now. Look, I know people want to know this, Jordan. Like we have this next total solar eclipse coming up on April 8th, and when we had this last annular solar eclipse in October, it was just pretty much off to the races.
Correct.
Yeah. Is this going to be another start to another horse race? Are we going off? Are we just going to go straight to the moon at this point?
Yeah. Okay. So let's analyze a couple things, guys. I'm going to go through every cycle with you, and I want you to focus specifically on the green where it says third solar eclipse. All right.
Okay.
Pay attention.
Okay.
Then we have this cycle, the first real Bitcoin cycle. We rallied literally days before the third solar eclipse, and then we had a big correction, immediate and 80% correction. I know it's hard to see, but that was how much Bitcoin corrected after it topped out in April of 2013. By the way, we're moving into that same time frame. By the way, this market in April of 2013, the day we topped out was almost identical to what our upcoming solar eclipse is. I'm not trying to say that we're just going to go parabolic until, this particular date, but that is a data point to keep in mind that'll just give you more context than what we're about to get into. But super bullish into this third solar eclipse, and then we stalled out. Now we have this cycle from 2013 through recovery and then ending in 2017. Remember, you want to pay attention to this green line where it says third solar eclipse. Now you can see that Bitcoin was playing around the prior cycle highs. It was testing those highs. And we had a lot of chop until we got to late April, and then we broke out. But you see the behavior around this particular solar eclipse. We're very bullish into it. And I'm going to check back in with you guys in a minute, because I think this is almost what we're doing today. Like, it's a 1-to-1 replica. So let's go to this cycle. We have the third solar eclipse. Again, chop sideways, and then moving into the fourth solar eclipse, we were really bullish. But I know we had this black swan event, but imagine we didn't have it. We would have absolutely
that's
been
March.
on our,
that's March of
2020, exactly.
Okay.
We had our third solar eclipse following in the summertime in June, like right around the solstice. If you were just to delete whatever we did over here and look at the rally we had into the solar eclipse, it was the same from March 16th to the day of the eclipse. Crazy bullish. The only thing that we could talk about is the clear washout, but with a V-shaped recovery, it didn't give people much time or the stomach to want to go all in, right? Most people were freaking the fuck out over here. Like they weren't getting bullish. Everyone thought the world was over.
Right.
But if you just delete these 3 red weekly candles and you look at what Bitcoin did into the third solar eclipse, it was very bullish, all things considered. So there's a relationship with the third solar eclipse where we're bullish into it and then a little choppy and sideways. And then there's also another thing going on where we have the retesting of all-time highs. And if I was to zoom out and show you what we're doing today, this is our third solar eclipse over here. We are retesting all-time highs. And then if I zoom into the 2017 cycle, we were doing the same thing around the same time frame. We were playing around with prior all-time highs, broke slightly above it. I think we got 7% above. Let me show you real quick. It was about 6 to 7%. And then we dropped. Okay. Now, if I go to today, we're going to see we got to March, broke above all-time highs. And from 69K, we went up around 6 to 7% above, almost 7%, and then we dropped. Mm-hmm. Now the difference is if we, but you know, you guys are doing this live, so this is all happening as we speak. I mean, the thing that would invalidate this is if Bitcoin was to just rally up and have no deeper correction or no sideways. So I wouldn't call what we just did sideways. I mean, it's very, very bullish. All of the corrections that we've had have been bought up almost instantaneously. Yeah. We have nothing sideways. It's just been parabolic since the last solar eclipse. And here we are on the next solar eclipse. So what I think isn't as important, of course, is what Bitcoin will do. But my feeling is that there needs to be a little bit of chop, like a little bit of sideways, and around halvings.
Let me push back. Let me push back on you on that one, because Waters Above, we haven't had 7,600 Bitcoins being purchased every day either.
For
so
sure.
is it this time being different enough? Is that one thing, that one variable enough for us to say this time is different?
Yeah, you know what I wonder is if if they're doing this in a way to trap a lot of people into buying a top. And then we have maybe like this 2013 washout over here where imagine, I'm just speaking hypothetically, imagine we film today, tomorrow Bitcoin has a glory candle to 80K. And then in 2 weeks, which is right around through our next solar eclipse, Bitcoin goes straight to 100K. I want everyone to close their eyes and just imagine Bitcoin goes straight to 100, maybe 125,000.
I can believe it.
Well, I don't think that's just going to keep going and going and going and going. There's always pullbacks along the way. And the more we hyperextend without any market structure, I mean, it's just what markets do.
Yeah.
So there needs to be profit taking, or in this case, outflows along the way. I think right now we're too narrative heavy. It's just those two, it's the two columns of narratives. It's like what I said before. It's what the Fed's doing and what BlackRock or what these institutions are doing regarding this ETF. If that's all we're going to keep going on, then like this is going to be one of the most boring and frustrating bull runs, I think, for 99% of the people that get involved, because they're going to wait and wait and wait until Bitcoin's 100K. And they're probably not going to position themselves.
That's where the pullback is going to be, in my opinion.
That could very well be it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge psychological hold number there.
I started realizing that Main Street versus Wall Street. Main Street is the liquidity. So I can't feel sorry for those people, because if we want to be able to take profits and be able to exit out, it's unfortunately those individuals that give us the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I'm not saying to feel any emotion about this. I'm just letting people know that if we get 100K Bitcoin now, like in the month of April, well, yeah, I mean, get ready for something pretty devastating. And then I want to remind people that we have just had a couple big events happen on the world stage. Like you guys check in on Donut Factory's work. I know he popped in a little bit ago. I sent out a decode almost immediately after what happened in Baltimore occurred, because I have family that drives over that bridge all the time. And like the way that those two back-to-back events happened with the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, as well as a couple weeks before, or like a week before, we had that event in Russia, which was the moment after China and Russia decided to not play the game in Israel. Like, it's a little weird, and I want people to be aware of the geopolitical conversation here. So if there is going to be some like a parabolic advance for the crypto market or the overall markets that extends through April with no noticeable pullbacks, and they're going to keep riding on this narrative, then I would not be shook if there was a war related event and then we start to see what happened in 1940. Anyone right? Or let me pull up the chart. I could show you guys what the hell I'm talking about, so it's not just like
Okay.
me rattling off numbers. I'm going to go to the S&P 500. We're going to go back to 1940 and the significance of that particular year, because it was the same Chinese year, the year of the dragon. It was also the same eclipses happening throughout the whole year. We had the same solar and lunar eclipse dates. And another thing is the Hebrew calendar matched. That's very, very rare, where the Hebrew calendar matches the Gregorian calendar that most of us use.
Yeah, I
So
saw
I'm not
something
just
about
pulling this shit out of I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. You could take everything I just said and you could go look for yourself. Look at the solar and lunar eclipses in 1940. Look at the Chinese year that we were in 1940. Look at all of this, and you're going to see. You could pull up the Hebrew calendar. You'll find that April 9th of 1940 was the first like real big move pushing forward this World War II narrative to be caught up around the world, where everyone was starting to get a little worried. And that was right after the eclipse that happened. So we have a solar eclipse coming up on April 8th. April 9th, everything matches to that year as it does this year. And look at this drop right here. May 10th. May 10th, the National Socialists, called the Nazis, invaded a lot of countries all at once simultaneously. We had a huge market drop. It corrected into the time frame that I've been talking about a lot on the work on my channel. And then we did bounce, but it was just the start of a downtrend.
Yeah.
And one thing to also mention about the year of the snake is that if anyone goes back and looks when the United States joins in on any of these conflicts, it's always during the year of the snake. I should probably make a video dedicated to this soon, but World War I,
that's
World War
interesting.
II, Vietnam, which is crazy because Vietnam was going on for a while before America got involved. They got involved in the year of the snake. And then obviously what just happened in 2001 with
it was Jim
9/11.
Jim Morrison's dad apparently was like involved with that whatever incident that got the United States involved in Vietnam. So,
I'm sure.
Something I wanted to ask you, because this kind of relates back, and I was very, very curious about what you meant by this tweet on March 19th. So this is like 9 days ago, something like that. You posted March 19th and you put some numerology, which adds up to 21. Correct. April 9th, numerology adds up to 21. These 2 dates are 21 days apart. What does this mean?
Yeah, so this number 3, this is the Trinity number. And those 3 weeks are very much going to be heavy volatility and events. And if we look at from March 19th through April 9th, I could almost guarantee we're going to see a lot of events. So when did this thing happen in Russia?
I think we just hit like a little like the year mark recently, didn't we?
No. I meant like this recent shooting.
Oh, the terrorist
shooting
attack. Yeah, I'm not sure what day it was.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
The one at the concert or something.
Correct. Yeah. Anyways, the point here is that when you see these dates that are matching up in the sequence of time and based off this April 9th date that I was just talking about moments ago, which is borrowing from a decode that had much more detail than this. It was revealing the day of April 9th specifically and why you need to pay attention to that date. And by the way, any truther channel out there, you probably see them talking about this upcoming solar eclipse and the preparation that's being done by the National Guard and military and hospitals, and everything is preparing for this upcoming solar eclipse. There's so much coverage on it, even from channels that are like Christian channels that talk about biblical prophecy and things that are going on there. You could look at the U.S. debt clock and what they showed a couple days ago. The U.S. debt clock showed you the solar eclipse that's happening on April 8th, the Great American Eclipse. Why are they showing all this symbolism? Why are they bothering? Well, it's happening for a reason. I don't think it's going to be there anymore.
No, I'm just curious what it is.
Yeah.
Well, now
So-
it's just taking you here to their Twitter account. But
Yeah.
It's been having some very interesting things on their site.
Yeah. So anyways, getting back to the power of the 2 date numerologies, I just thought it was pretty fascinating when you took from that particular day of the 19th, sharing the date numerology to this next day that also has the 21, which would be the 9th, and then seeing the sequence of time in between it being synced as 3 weeks to the 21 to 21, and that 21 equaling 3, the 333, which is the ascended master number. 33 is the number of transmutation. It's like the 33 degrees is when the ice cube becomes water again. This is the unfrozen pineal gland. This is a number associated with the Christ or the enlightened one. This 33 degrees, the 33
I know,
spine.
and there's so many people, like especially people that are Christian, that are paying attention to this particular eclipse based off of like what took place in 2017 with that eclipse and these signs in heaven and space that go back to Revelation. And then like during this solar eclipse, we're supposed to be this devil's comet, this double-tailed horned comet is supposed to be visible. We have the April 20th date right now tentatively for the halving, and then towards the end of April we have this double brood of cicadas, these locusts that are coming out together the first time in like 221 years. The last time these two broods came out was under Thomas Jefferson. And if you take all these things in combination, I can see why people, and then what you said, it's like it almost sounds like you're talking about the return of Jesus over here.
Hey. Hey.
Well, have you guys heard of this red heifer?
Yeah.
Like yeah. So they're
because apparently 3 or 4 of them
now.
are legal to actually be sacrificed, and they may be sacrificed this weekend.
Well,
wait. What were you guys talking about? I'm not familiar.
The biblical Hebrew
the
prophecy.
Sacrifice dates are wild. Like when I heard the sacrifice because nobody knows when it's going to happen. And by the way, whatever they share on the news, that's horseshit. It's never, bro. These are like high-level Luciferian rabbis. I know they're acting like they're all like holy.
Oh, Rabbi Shmuley, that idiot.
This is like black magic at its finest, and they don't understand how to read the Bible or the Torah or any of these.
I believe.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is. It's
Zionism. Is it the one that one of the rabbis that Candace Owens is beefing with? Shmuley.
Yeah, so
he's horrible, bro.
This is a very important ritual that they're doing because they've been preparing for it for a long, long time now. Like it's the same sort of. Actually, I heard that 4 of these cows were shipped. They were shipped over from 2022. And what's interesting about that 2022 timeframe was America's Pluto's return, allegedly. I know a lot of.
I was just mentioning this last night because when I just said this about these 2 broods of locusts, it related me back to the Pluto's return, which was back during the revolutionary time period. And there's all this talk of civil war, and it's like if you look at things from
there's a movie coming out I think on April what is it, April 20th? It's called Civil War.
Yeah.
Why are they making a Hollywood movie called?
It's just
Civil
like
War?
It's just like that Obama produced thing on Netflix. Leave the world behind, whatever it's called.
Obama.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting. I know we kind of got off track with that, but
so just getting back to this, I want people to study the environment geopolitically, also what was going on in finance, what was going on in the stock market, like in 1939 and 1940. And if you pay attention to that one big event that happened on May 10th, right after that solar eclipse, it was about less than a month effectively, which marked the top, by the way. You see that peak that I have? That is peaked at the solar eclipse, and then we had a fake out, and then a little sideways, and then we fell off a cliff due to that invasion. That right there would not shock me if we had some shit like that go down. But the question is, if Bitcoin wants to go crazy bullish right now and hyperextend into $100,000, then if we had a deeper correction in the stock market, when Bitcoin returns back down, it might only go to 60K. So it's in the same trading range we've been trading in for the past couple of weeks anyways. Bitcoin is bullish as fuck right now. The crypto market is very, very obviously getting ready to go bananas. And I still think that even with big events that happen on the world stage, we will maintenance a bull run throughout the rest of 2024. I don't think they're ready to crash the markets just yet in this type of, sort of.
No, they're not going to crash the
environment.
markets until
year.
Until Trump gets in, then they'll rug pull. They'll do the presidential rug pull.
And that's why I'm showing you this exact style of correction, because look, it was only 2 months. We were chopping sideways after we had this correction, and then we bounced very bullish out of it all the way up until Q4. So I could see this happening. This could happen in the stock market, this style of move, even if there was a huge event. I'm not saying there will be, but I do have my feelers out for April 15th. That's a date that I've been talking with Rice about for like a year now, maybe. Yeah. I've gone out of my way to really try to spread the awareness on the April 15th.
Well, you said something date about April 15th that follow a Sunday or something. There was something very specific about these April 15th.
Yeah, exactly. So what happens on
and
April
it's also
15th?
Tax day.
Yeah. Well, in the United States, yeah.
Tax day?
What?
You interviewed the IRS guy and told me.
I didn't say I participated.
Never mind. I'm not going to say anything on record with that. Continue above waters or waters above.
My man broke out a cigar.
He's a connoisseur.
Oh, I'm a connoisseur. Look, I've got my humidor traveling one right here with me, man. We're locked and loaded.
I've never smoked a cigar. What's it about?
We'll have to. We'll talk offline. I'm gonna come visit you because I need to give you a sacrifice, Rabbi. Above waters above. Investing the federal. There you go. Investigating the federal.
That's the book. That's the book.
Yeah,
Joseph
man.
R. Bannister, the former.
Jordan? Did you see that interview?
No, I haven't. Can you send it to me though?
Yeah, I'll send you a link to it, man. But he's a former special agent, gun carrying IRS agent who quit the IRS because he found that the federal income tax is completely unconstitutional and illegal, and he couldn't continue in the job with swearing an oath to the Constitution.
Yeah. See, you know what that is? Like, people talk so much shit about these individuals who are caught up in these things, and it's because they have no awareness. And then the concept of selling your soul is when you find out that you're part of some nonsense, and then you keep going just for money. Right. So that's a real man. Like, when you realize that you're doing something dishonorable and then you pivot, that's fucking beautiful. Like, we should be opening up our ears to the wisdom that those people have to say. Because
very commendable.
Oh yeah, like, because this happened so much during C19 with these forced Vs that a lot of people were having to take because of jobs or whatever. But anyway, we'll get back to the chart. I know we could talk about this shit forever, but
no, I appreciate. Hey, thank you for giving us extra time, Jordan.
We appreciate this, man. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome.
You asked me a question. I think it was about April 14th, 15th, right? Like where I got that pattern from.
Yeah, because there was something of it's not every April 15th because it wasn't last April 15th. Exactly. What was it? What was the specific thing about
so just to let your audience know, if they're completely unaware of this or if they have a couple of ideas of where this date has taken place in the past, April 15th is a ritual date. It's happened in so many different areas as well, like not just to one particular sector or one particular type of political leader or it's all over the place. It's pretty much whatever the flavor of the year is, it's the thing that it attacks. Okay, so keep what I just said in mind. What's the flavor of this year? It's blackouts and war. Everyone and their mother is talking about blackouts and potential cyber attacks. Right. So you know the flavor of the month. All right. The flavor of the year is cyber attacks.
It's Leave the World Behind and Civil War. Those two flicks will basically sum it up.
Sure. And they include both of the same things anyways, right? Like Leave the War Behind. What led to the Civil War was the blackout. So the point that I'm making here is now you get the idea of what it's likely to be if there is an event on that particular day. All right. April 15th was the day that the Titanic sank. And you all probably know, some of you that are into finance, that 1 year after was the launch of the Federal Reserve System. And the people who were ritualized on the Titanic were people that opposed the Federal Reserve System. But the day of that sinking started on the 14th of April into the 15th was the official day. Now, it was also the day that Lincoln was assassinated. Please keep this in mind, because if Biden goes down on the 15th, that should not be shocking to you guys, because everyone is expecting that anyways, just because of his health. But how crazy would it be if it was something involving the president in this
It would
particular
be.
environment?
It would be beyond crazy.
I'm done.
And then I will officially call you a witch.
Hey, I'm joining the church of waters above if that shit happens, bro.
Well, waters above, it's a biblical term. It's the firmament, the waters above us.
Also, like, I want people to know, like, I'm not really trying to be right about any of this. Like, I don't predict anything. I'm not playing the game of right and wrong. Like, I find these things and I want to spread the awareness. And what matters most to me is art and philosophy. I'm not here to be the guy who's right. It doesn't serve me. Like, Rice knows that I'm just trying to have these conversations, because in a world where everyone's avoiding these conversations, I think this is the most stimulating thing we could all do.
Yeah,
absolutely. You got your family. I mean, you're looking out for people.
Well, that's what I want, and that's why I'm deciding to continue these collaborations, because you've always allowed me to speak my truth without any censoring. And I do get a lot of people that reach out to me that have 100, 150, 250,000 subscribers, and they want me to speak a certain way. And I tell them to go fuck themselves. Man. Like, I have no desire. Like, I'm never going to be a part of something where I'm not allowed to be me, and I'm not allowed to spread my truth.
Well, so I love you, Jordan.
Yeah, man, I love you. I love you too, man. I appreciate you guys. So about this April 15th date, I just gave you 2 big gems. And now we also had recent things that have happened on April 15th, one of which was the Notre Dame fire. The other one was the Boston Marathon bombing. And then during C19 in 2020, it was the day with the most C19 cases. Wow. So the pattern that I found, what I find to be most interesting is the 2 events that I just talked about, with the fire of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France, and then the one with the Boston Marathon bombing, because we have the upcoming Summer Olympics happening in Paris. And if you look at the logo of the Paris Summer Olympics, it is literally a flame.
It's because Macron is a flamer.
Macron.
So I think that's kind of predictive programming in a way. Like, I think that's really, really revealing. And the other thing about this Paris Summer Olympics as well, the fact that it's happening in the summertime, where a lot of people are expecting there to be something to happen on the world stage, because I think a lot of people assume that's when they like to hit people hardest, when they're all on vacation, when there's time off, they're not expecting it, they're kicking back and relaxing. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that, but a lot of the time when I share my truth, people come back at me and say, well, they like to do things in the summer because of that reason I just revealed. So I think that when you have an Olympics in a big metropolitan city like Paris, you can expect travel and getting around and all that shit, logistics, to be already quite aggravating. And you're gonna see some trouble with that. And the city of Paris has already been. I mean, France is so volatile. They're having these riots like every month, every week.
You saw people dying while there was like fires behind them and
exactly
stuff.
Exactly. So if you're gonna have this bread and circus come to this city at this time, and then you have that particular symbolism, I think it's very revealing. So anyways, the bombing and the fires, and then we had this bombing that just happened in Russia. There's going to be also the bombing that happened in Israel that started the war. Don't be surprised if the event that happens on April 15th would be a bombing and of like a power station, like some sort of power grid attack, and they would blame it on a bombing. I think that that's likely to be the thing. There's obviously speculation of what it could be, but if I had to dial it in, it would be fire, it would be bombing, it would be April 15th because of the pattern. And that exact pattern is, if April 15th lands on a Monday, that's when we've seen every event I've just brought up. That was the day of the week it landed on. And this upcoming April 15th lands on a Monday.
Wow. That's what it was. So I was right. I was right though when I said after Sunday. See, we had that conversation a while ago.
Yeah. And let me show you something real quick that I think is pretty cool. When you look at the Bitcoin chart from that 2016 cycle, I was trying to show some similarities between 2016 and 2017. Look, this is the Bitcoin halving right here. We rose super bullish into that, and then we corrected, but then look at the correction we had after the halving. This type of market structure, if Bitcoin was to go up super hard right now into the eclipse, this could also be the way that it all plays out. I mean, I know it's very weird for there to be a big drop off post halving when allegedly we're supposed to have more scarcity, and but I do get what you guys meant earlier about there's a 600 Bitcoin being bought per day. It's totally different than it was back in 2016. That's undeniable. I'm not trying to deny facts,
Right.
but events do alter the price of Bitcoin, just like they do in any market. Anything that has speculation, people go, do I want to be risk on or risk off? Well, it's very rare that we see something negative happen on the world stage and the response to the most speculative fucking asset class be bullish. Like, it's just it's
so
not
I'm with you there, and I try to tell my audience this all the time to be careful and be cognizant of what's going on globally, geopolitically, because as you just stated, Bitcoin is the most speculative risk on asset we've ever seen. Okay, so when something goes haywire, shit hits the fan, Bitcoin's going to be affected by that big time to the downside. So just
It always has.
temporarily.
But I want
The
people
bounce
to know,
back is
like,
crazy, but
I'm
yeah.
not trying. I agree. I was just about to say that I would be buying that fucking dip, whatever it is. I don't care where it goes. Like, especially on altcoins, because one of the things to open our eyes to is we're not in a true alt season yet. We're just not.
Yeah,
Total
very true.
2 and
Very
Total
true.
3 has not broken into price discovery, whilst Bitcoin has. At least a little bit it has, as I've shown you earlier. 7% above all-time highs, but right now we're trading above prior cycle highs and closing dailies. So we don't have the true alt season until we start seeing price discovery in Total 2 and Total 3. And that means we have so much opportunity in this market. And that's what I've been trying to teach people. Like, Bitcoin might not be the buy right now because we're at fucking all-time highs. Like, I would never touch a Bitcoin at 70 when we have so many other opportunities with way more ROI. And when you have more ROI opportunity, if you're just conservative and you have a strategy to de-risk or take profits on the way up, then you're golden. But if we wanted to get into the conversation, which perhaps we could do on the next get together, about where's Bitcoin going for the all-time highs and the speculation around that, we could totally do it. But I think everyone could agree, like, it would require Bitcoin to do some insane shit for it to outperform a majority of the alts. It's never been the case, unless you're looking at the all-time chart. But when we go into alt season, you see stuff go up 2,000% in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And I think that's where the move is. Bitcoin is the market compass, though. So if we're generally up in Bitcoin and we're generally up in the stock market, well, then we're generally up in altcoins, and every dip is a chance to DCA. I want people to get that in their heads, because some people who follow very closely with my work, they didn't come here before April of 2023. They're just showing up now, and it's like they missed the whole conversation that led up to this moment.
Yeah.
And they hear that I de-risked Bitcoin recently, and they're like, what are you doing? You're selling early. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you missed the conversation. It's like you joined the room when dinner was halfway done, and we're on dessert now. Right now, guys, I want to be honest. We're at dessert. This is the beginning of the end. This is not going to be an easy market to navigate as we have this conversation. I'm not saying this to hurt people's feelings or to make people feel fearful or FOMO.
No, we want to hear. Yeah, we want to hear all sides.
I'm just being a real one. Look at this chart that we're looking at right now. This is the S&P. We're going fucking parabolic. You think this shit's going to last forever? Yeah. On the S&P, like, we're at the beginning of the end, in my opinion. I agree. Beginning of the end, it'll take some time. I do think we can make it all the way until potentially Q1 of 2025. But I'm just saying, the navigating it part is not going to be as simple and easy and relaxing as it was before October of last year. It's going to be much, much more volatile, choppy, confusing. Bitcoin will be down 1% while one other altcoin is up 50%. You'll see something that was down 40% magically in a single candle go up 200%. You will just be all over the place. It's nothing like the pre-October time frame.
So take profits, guys. Take profits.
And DCA on any dips.
Very DCA on dips. Take out what you put in.
Take out what you put in.
To a point, like, especially if, like, the asset you own or you bought doubles in price, pull out your initial investment. So you're just playing with house money at that point.
Yeah, man. Let me just say, man, this has been an awesome session, man. We're gonna have to have you come back on. It was great. I want to talk even, and I'm sure Rice would as well. We want to talk non-crypto stuff as well. That's
I've been
very
meaning
important.
it just because I don't get as much time with Jordan as I've gotten in the past. This was an idea to do something that was going to be completely unrelated to crypto and do something on my other
So
channel.
maybe Rice, we should get him on a Rumble only, uncensored, so we can really like.
I just made a Rumble account like a couple days ago because people kept telling me to do it. I probably have 0 followers over there, but everyone keeps telling me to do it.
Yeah. Drop your if you want in the private chat, drop your link, and then we'll send it out.
1 second, I gotta find it.
I'll drop it in the video description as well too.
Yep,
yeah, like they don't even allow me to make a custom URL, so it looks like
okay.
But I just sent it. I sent it to you now.
All right, sweet. Thank you.
I had a real bad week last week with internet connection, and OBS software for doing live streams was fucking up. So I just bit the bullet and I bought StreamYard Premium.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that StreamYard and doing live streams simultaneously on Rumble and YouTube is like the solid move for getting the word out.
Yeah, it's just
but I have zero experience with Rumble. I gotta be honest.
It sucks. The chat doesn't aggregate, so because you have to put a custom URL in every time you do a stream on Rumble, you have to put a custom streaming information inside of StreamYard. You got to change it every single time, and then in order to do the chat, you have to kind of pop it out and then do a screen share of the chat if you share the chat. So it has some, and it used to be very friendly with transferring your YouTube videos, but YouTube has since not allowed that.
Go figure. I wonder why.
Have you noticed that by any chance, Bud? That your video?
No, I stopped even caring because now I just live stream every day from Rumble because it pushes your chat. It pushes your videos much better than transferring over anyway. Like their algo likes you to stream live, so that's what I do over there.
It doesn't transfer over now, which
I didn't know that.
Kind of sucks for people. Yeah, but YouTube will take their money to allow Rumble to advertise on their platform, but they're not going to allow for the content to transfer from YouTube. But it doesn't affect Odyssey, so it should show you that Odyssey is not a threat to YouTube.
There you go.
But I do have on screen Waters Above's YouTube channel. I also have watersabove.com. If you real quick, before we wrap up, Jordan, you want to explain what you offer in your courses? And I know you have a Patreon where you kind of do like some deeper dives and have some private conversations.
Yeah, like what I tell people is typically if you're interested in one of my courses, then joining the Patreon might be the way because it gives you a 20% discount on any of the courses, and they're all lifetime access, one-time payment. So by joining Patreon, you get a weekly podcast. That podcast, I cover everything that's going on in the markets. I also review altcoins that my community votes on. So my community does a voting system every single week. And by now, you'll get access to an archive of podcasts, 150 plus podcasts where I go over 4 to 5 altcoins every single week. It's like 500 different altcoin reviews. So by joining now, you're really joining when there's so much material, there's so many gems, and then you also get a discount on any courses that I sell, a bigger discount. And the courses that are available are a crypto course for those that are new to this market, that are beginning, or people that are just following along stuff, but they don't really know what they're following along. You know, you want more awareness of how to do this on your own. That's my crypto mastermind. And then I have a decoding mastermind, which I just put out for those that are interested in the more esoteric conversation, like some of the stuff that we talked about with knowing the deeper meaning behind scripture and numerology and Gematria and symbolism. And then if you scroll down a little bit, I have a course that is something that I typically cover this stuff in my live stream. So I do a live stream every Saturday and we talk about health, wellness, business. We talk about mindset. A lot of stuff going on in the world right now, a lot of distractions, a lot of stuff where people are just feeling nervous, or they have, their attention is split in so many directions and they have very little focus. So that's what I designed that course for. It talks about just expanding the expansion mastermind.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so I'm kind of covering all the bases on the works that I've put out, everything from consciousness expansion and mindset and health, all the way to decoding, and as well as with cryptocurrency.
Nice.
and
And then
investing.
your social links and all that. You need to make sure you add your Rumble now that you got your Rumble channel on your website, but it's watersabove.com. And then you guys can also follow, because people didn't know you actually had a Twitter account.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a fake account,
But
but
it's blue checked. I mean, I know a fake account can blue check because right
it's
here,
happened.
right
I've
here
had
is
people.
right here's a fake account.
Yeah, and they're
So
gonna keep making them. By the way, like there's been fucking 20 of those fake
it's
accounts.
waters above, taking out the O and the above. So WATERSABVE.
If anyone just goes to my YouTube video, you'll find in my last YouTube video a link tree link. I've been thinking about sharing that more because the link tree is all of my links as one.
Right. Yeah, that's better. Yep, I would do that, bro.
Where's the
I
link
would do
tree?
that.
Yeah, you got to scroll
There
a
it
little
is.
bit.
There it is.
Yeah, I know it's kind of hidden, but I've been telling so many people about it, and it's like most people don't really know what Linktree is. So when I say it, they're like, "What?" And yeah, it's not as popular, but it allows people to find me easier. And honestly, guys, the only reason why I even say this shit is to prevent you from talking with the scammer. That's all I care.
Right.
I don't
Right.
care if you don't have to invest in my art. You don't have to. It's not about that. Like it's really, if you do want to invest in my art and my vision, I'm really grateful and I appreciate that. It's more that I want to prevent you from getting caught up in the scammer that's pretending to be me. There's too much of that stuff right now. And it's crazy how they're using channels like that are so small like mine and still able to get away with it. I mean, I don't really have that many subs. I could see with like BitBoy or something, but like there's nothing going on with me.
I mean, I've had her on Facebook, Instagram, a couple other different platforms, and I've had numerous people try to report these accounts, and they don't.
Nothing happens.
Yeah, they don't seem to do, just like YouTube will like to keep will keep our content suppressed, but they'll take they'll allow for advertisers to do these deep fake AI videos pretending to be Michael Saylor or Vitalik Buterin and saying, send me your crypto, send me 1 Bitcoin, and I'll send you 2 back just to say thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
But anyways, I appreciate you guys. It was really great to connect.
It
was great to be able to almost 2 hours. Wow.
Yeah. Well, again, man, I really appreciate it.
Wow. Round of applause.
Me and Blood will wrap this
vibes,
thing
bro.
up, man. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to add before we wrap things up on your end?
No. I have a video that I put out a couple weeks ago. It's still very relevant. I'm going to be coming out with a new one most likely in the first week of April over on YouTube. I'll give everyone a wrap up of what's going on. And besides that, I think we covered everything today.
Cool, man. Well, again, I appreciate you joining, and me and Blood will wrap this thing up solo or together. So appreciate your time, man. Look forward to the next time.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone who's listening in. Much love.
Thanks,
Safe
man.
travels
Appreciate
with you,
it.
my friend.
Take care, brothers.
All right, now.
All right. What do you think, man?
Man, that was great. That was great.
If you're gonna schedule something with them, I would definitely like to participate.
No, we'll do it together. Yeah, absolutely.
Because that you see how it is with me. It's like how now you see, because it's like when you get in a conversation with him, and sometimes you're limited with time. Sometimes it's an hour and a half. There's just so much stuff that I like to cover. I told him if we could have conversations like once every month and a half.
That'd be much better.
I wouldn't be bombarding you with so much.
Right.
Because I do value Jordan's thoughts and his opinion on things, because he does have a definite different outlook on the way these markets work, and he's shown me a lot of consistency with being correct. And I'm not saying that everything he says is going to pan out to be true. Right? I'm saying that for the people watching, because everybody thinks that we're just fucking financial advisors and everything. Everybody's like, yeah, we need to trust these YouTubers with where to put our money.
Drink this Kool-Aid, and I'm Jim Jones.
That's what we need to sell. We need to come up with some Kool-Aid.
We should.
We need to sell our cult Kool-Aid.
We should.
Maybe we got to stop talking about it on there.
We got to start being more extreme and more snake oils men like. That seems to get all the attention.
One thing I will say that I'm going to shift a little bit with my channel, a little bit with the content, is I am going to start trying to focus a little bit more on getting ahead monetarily. So not necessarily degen stuff, but I am going to be looking at, you know, trying to capitalize on these markets a little bit more publicly than I've done in videos in the past, because the system itself, the TradFi system, is set up against us so much that we need to do everything that we can to stack whatever we're stacking. And I got to respect whatever you want to stack, whether it's fiat, whether it's Bitcoin, or whether it's Solana or XRP. And that means that I will probably like
we forgot to ask just Jordan about XRP. He's an XRP fan, which is a shocker.
Yeah, well, he was kind of saying it was he didn't really want to talk a lot about the markets, which I found really to be interesting when that's a lot of what his channel technically is about. But I get it, because it's like I was telling him before we started. This whole crypto thing is like not just a rabbit hole, but a black hole, and it can literally suck out the life essence of each and every one of us individually. Like, I've had my soul sucked out of me so many times that I've had to like take these breaks so I can put my soul back inside of me.
Dang, that's she did it that well.
Yeah. Shout out, man. Shout out. I love Offner Crypto's comment here.
Yeah, Offner, that's my guy. He's helping out big time with the channel. Shout out to Juan Fitty. I see him in the building.
Yeah, shout out
AI Griff. And yeah, Coinye. We got a community launch coin called Coinye coin. Go check that out.
Is that how it's spelled?
Yeah, Coinye.
It was like
a coon. Coinye. Oh, not Coonyade, but yeah, we're drinking the Coonyade over it.
I wanted you to define for me, because there's a lot of like racial terms, like for white people, they'll use like hunky and cracker. The term coon is a racial term for
it is
for black people, but you were using it in reference to Jesse Lee Peterson. So how do you define what a
coon he's a coon. Oh, he's a coon.
What is how do you define what a
coon is like a. And I don't believe this about Kanye, but you know, we're just running with it with a joke. But a lot of people think he's sold out, right? He's not for the black community and all that. So when I think of the guy you're talking about, I forgot his name. What is his name?
Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson. He's a coon, but he's a straight up coon. Like, he hates black people. He hates himself.
So
like,
is a coon like an Uncle Tom?
Yes.
So it's a traitor to the black people.
You cooning, yeah, like, you know.
So it's not just like calling.
Yeah, is real though.
It's not just a racial term for a black person. It
is, but it's
who hates other black people.
So it is okay. From my understanding, it is a racial term towards black people that maybe racist white people would say or use, right?
But people would use it as a way.
But I feel like as
Uncle Tom,
at least from my understanding and how I perceived it growing up, if your friend or some black person is basically pandering to maybe the white community more than they are the black community, you're cooning. Stop. Why are you cooning?
Would I don't know. This is too stereotypical. What was his name?
Tap dancing. There you go, Crypto Society.
Yeah, well, that's what he's tap dancing. Carlton from Fresh.
Yeah, he was a coon in his character a little bit. Yeah,
okay.
a little bit.
Now I understand.
I don't know. Maybe I have a wrong interpretation.
I was having trouble sleeping last night because I was thinking about this, and it was just on my brain. I was like, well, what exactly is this coon? Yeah,
you probably, if you're white, you don't want to promote you buying Kanye West coin. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Hey, we're having fun.
If you're black, you can talk about Bored Ape, I guess, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. With all the Nazi and racist stuff and all that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty. So what do you got coming up? You got any more streams today? You got
I'm gonna do a trading stream, give everyone an update on the markets. It looks like we're rallying a little bit, so I got to update everyone. I want to just make sure
update your sheet too with all these memberships you had today. Shout out to everybody.
I did. I
and
shout
also,
out to
these people don't know. Yesterday was Blood's birthday, so happy late birthday to Blood.
Thank you. Yeah, I got everyone who gave a super chat today. AI Griff, Memories with Mike. And I just want to drive this point home because I only have, I think, 8 people that have signed up with Blowfin. There's a link in the description of my video for you to sign up for Blowfin. You're going to need that UID number from Blowfin Exchange to participate this Friday for the $100 that I'm giving away. So I only have like 8 people that have signed up. So a lot of people are not. It's an exchange. It's actually an exchange that Discover Crypto is using. They have partnered with them.
Okay.
A while back, so they reached out to me.
Because I am thinking about working with some exchanges, and I do want to do like a video with you, getting you to kind of teach about some leverage exchanging.
Yeah, we can do that. Tutorial videos do pretty
here.
well.
Let's see. I want to try to get this thing pulled up on screen. Where are you at? Here we are. I'm using Google.
Juan Fitty says, you motherfuckers always make shit about surface level skin tone.
What? Repeat that.
Juan Fitty said, you motherfuckers always make shit about surface level skin tone.
You see this?
That's funny. SB, okay, live. FTX, 25 years in prison. See?
He got more time. He got more time than you said.
He got 5 more years.
You said
no,
10.
I thought I said 20.
I'm pretty sure you said like 10. If you said 20,
I think I said 20.
But now 25 is appropriate because how old is he?
30. I said 20 because I said he would get out at 50.
Yeah. But
there you go. I'm close.
He'll get out before that because he'll get probation. Obviously, he's
not in Fed time. I think you got to do like 80 something.
80% of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's still a lot. He's going to be in there for a while. I wonder if he'll start an exchange.
No, he should be. He definitely should be.
He'll start running up the shops and shit. You'll be the guy you're buying.
Chloe Dior, thank you, sweetie. Thank you for the happy birthdays. Thank you.
And we appreciate everybody taking the time to tune in, man.
Yeah, man, honestly, bro, this is a good one. A lot of people saying one of the best streams, but when we collab and have people on, they're always we make movies, man. We make movies. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
We need Blood's links. They are in my video description. And
yeah, we need you guys to support us in whatever capacity. I don't know how you have people support you over there. Join his Patreon.
I'm going to be doing something with I want to open up YouTube memberships, I think, and just do early access. And maybe I was thinking me and you could do some exclusive live streams for both of our members, since we do a lot of co-streams together anyways.
Yeah.
I was thinking we could do that. And then I have so I got your website pulled up, and then I also have your X account, which is cryptoblood_. And then people can come over to ricetvx.com if you guys
I'm blue check now. I'm gonna
get the blue check. I'm gonna get the blue check, and I'm also gonna pay for YouTube's subscription service and upgrade and all that. I want to play the game a little bit.
No, that doesn't work.
I'm gonna try it. Okay,
it doesn't work, bro. I've been YouTube Premium for over 6 years. I'm like when YouTube Premium came out, I started. It didn't help.
So I got rid of my Patreon. It technically exists, and I am putting up the early access stuff when I'm doing content, which I haven't been doing content really for the past month. So, but normally I am replacing my Patreon, where you're going to get not only the early access to videos, but you're going to get exclusive content, and you're going to get access to both of my channels, Rice Crypto and Rice Against the Grain, at riceuncensored.com, or you can find it right here in the Join Today at ricetvx.com. And I wanted to start doing a lot more exclusive stuff starting in April. Everything's going to get back in track in April. I'm going to probably do like 3 videos a week, and then I might start picking it up back after that. But that's the plan.
Whew, man, this is early for me, man. This is early. He drugged me out the bed on this one, guys.
I'm surprised look, at one point we had over 300 people watching, but I will say that the main culprit of that is your X account.
Man.
That check does pay, I guess.
The check does pay. Check does pay. I'm loving it.
It's good to know that. I might have to get myself a check.
Listen, even my tweets, bro, I got to be more careful about what I say now, because it gets a little bit more, So
do you have different lighting on, by the way? Because like you look like you're extra shiny today, like glowing. Like your hat looks like it's glowing. Is there like a light down there? Is the window open? Is it a different time of day? The sun's hitting you differently. Like what's going on?
It's my morning glow, Rice. It's my morning.
Maybe you
glow.
You look beautiful and shiny.
Thank you.
So what time are you doing your stream today?
I'll stream it maybe about 3 o'clock today. I'm only doing one stream. It'll be a trading stream, so nothing real major.
And
Not
then
going
Friday,
deep
you're
diving.
doing your giveaway.
Friday giveaway, 3 p.m.
What
Eastern
coin are you
Standard.
giving away?
Giving away Solana and USDT. But again, they have to sign up for Blowfin to get it, bro. So I might, like, at this point, with only 8 people that have signed up, I might have to take the whole episode to spin the wheel, because it's going to take a long time.
That
It
sucks.
potentially could take a long time to get that person.
Wow.
Because they gotta have their UID ready. You know, they got 60 seconds to get it to me after I spin that wheel, bro. So
Well, maybe you should like give them 2 minutes to give it to you instead of 60.
no, that's too much time.
Too much.
Gone
time,
in 60 seconds.
Gone in 60 seconds. I love it. All right, man. Well, I'm
All right,
looking
bro.
forward to it. I think I want to
Yeah.
probably do a stream Monday. Will be my next stream, and
Okay, and then we're going to, ladies and
gents.
gents, we're going to do a stream hopefully next weekend, an uncensored.
We need to figure out. We're gonna have to figure out. Like, we'll talk about a topic, but we definitely just need to. Maybe we can just do a general open forum and just have people join
No,
us.
I've got a controversial one I don't want to say here
Okay.
because we're streaming on YouTube,
All right.
but it's hilarious.
Okay.
It's
Well, I'm
a
looking
trigger.
forward to it. I'm looking forward
All
to
right.
it.
All right, bro. All right.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
man. Well, appreciate you joining today, man,
Yeah,
and
thank you,
streaming
guys.
with me. I want to go ahead and play my little promo video
Sure.
to in today's video. And if you guys have not taken an opportunity to smash that like button, we would greatly appreciate. If you take an opportunity to do so, make sure you subscribe to all of our channels. I have the two. I have Rice Crypto and Rice Against the Grain. You got Mr. CB Crypto Blood, CBTV. I Love Crypto. And we have Waters Above. Links are down below in the video description for our YouTube channels, for our Rumble channels, for our X accounts. With that being said, I encourage you all, as always, to be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be the glitch that you want to see in this matrix. Be the change that you want to see in this world. And until next time, holla.
Holla.
Don't forget to visit ricetvx.com, where you can watch both of my YouTube channels, Rice Crypto and Rice Against the Grain, directly. Find all of my social media links, sign up for my mailing list, and become a member of Rice Uncensored, where you can join me on the private side for less than $0.25 a day. You will get early access to both Rice Crypto and Rice Against the Grain, ad-free, unedited videos, exclusive content, members-only forum with direct access to me, live streams, and more to come, only at ricetvx.com.